And obviously they all need to go somewhere to be turned into a transacting customer. So they end up on your website. Any email marketing that you might do, so whether that's your list, your in-house list of existing customers, or a prospect list that you've built up over time, or any lists that you might have purchased, they need to sending somewhere to validate that you are who you say you are, or to be turned into a transacting customer. Any offline marketing that you do obviously needs to send people somewhere, and it might be that you want people to ring up, or it might be that you want to send them to your website as well. So think about actually how it all links together, your adverts, PR, networking, leaflets, posters, any direct mail you do, anything that you do to promote your business, we'll be sending them to your website. And then your SEO, sort of on-page and on-site stuff, will actually get you up those rankings on Google and Bing and whatnot. And so you're sending those people to your website. So really your website is at the heart of everything that you do. So it really does need to be shown some love. So why do you have a website? And I've come up with these reasons why businesses have websites. So we've got sales, e-commerce, so it's actually a transacting website, to generate inquiries. So it might be that people go to your website and you then want them to fill out a contact form. It might be to validate your offering, which is very much like my website. You know, it's very simple. It just basically says, I know what I'm doing. People look at it and go, oh yeah, right, that's fine. That's who she is. That's what she does. So that's for validation. It might be that you want to take visitors on a journey. So you might be guiding them through a series of transactions or series of processes to actually get them somewhere so that they are more of a qualified lead for yourself. It might be a website that's just about educating people or entertaining people, or it might simply be an online brochure. So what's the reason for having your website? So we can either do this through the chat, which I'm hoping that I can see. Yes, through chat, or we can actually discuss this. People are sending me messages. Or we can actually discuss this. Does anybody want to contribute as to why they have a website? There we go. Oh, Helen says hers is for generating inquiries. Helen, are you business to business? Hi. Do you want to unmute yourself? Oh, can't hear you. Oh, you're B2B plus B2C. Okay, yeah, so generating inquiries. Do you do any online sales through your B2C as well, or is it just for people then to get in touch with you? B2C, you want online bookings. Okay, so it is a transacting website. So you are sort of sales and e-commerce as well. Brilliant. Anybody else want to put in the chat why they have a website? Generate inquiries. Brilliant.
I think for me, I'm speaking. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can, yes. I'm like, oh, look at the charts. People are talking, it's good.
Yeah, not so much sales. I am business to business, but I think, like you said, it's about having the information there to direct people to. So I support construction companies. So there's lots of information out there, and it's almost like a place to not dump it all, but you know, share it and try and have it in a uniform. Because I've built my own website with the help of a with help of somebody.
Yeah.
So, and I have used it a lot, because rather than trying to repeat exactly what you're trying to say every time,
Yeah.
it's like, right, well, let's go on the website because I've already put that up there. Have a look at that. Not that I'm always directing people to that, because I don't want people just to have to then go to a website and find out the information, but at least I use it as a reference point as well, I suppose.
So are you almost educating the reader, would you say? Is that the reason you've got a website?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably would fall into that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So we've also got in the chat, we've got Kevin wants to generate inquiries B2C. Nina wants to generate inquiries and validate an offering. Yeah, sometimes it is like you pick, it might be that you're sales and e-commerce, but you're also validating or educating. So there'll be multi reasons why you've got a website. Anyone else?
Sorry, can I just?
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Deborah?
I can, yes.
I mean, I was just saying, my role is a little bit different because I'm a business advisor. So for me, I use websites to go and validate. That's why I've sort of would validate an offering in that. The first place I would go to see a business would be look at their website.
Yes.
And to see whether they've got a web presence.
Yes.
That gives me the sort of minimum information.
Yes.
Because sometimes when you get inquiries, you just get a business name, but you don't know anything else about the business. So, that's why I think, it's important having websites.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're using that as part of your research process. So you're looking at other people's websites to actually validate what they do to see whether they fall into your potential customer.
Yeah, or just to get some basic information about the business before I contact them or have a chat about them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I sort of use it for, really.
Yeah. Okay. So Kevin has also put my all-time favourite / it's going to annoy me to raise general awareness. Sorry, Kevin. So we'll come on to target audiences shortly. So general is not a term that I like. I like things to be pinpointed and we know who we're targeting. So we'll come on to that. So we'll be raising specific awareness, Kevin, with your website shortly, I'm sure. Okay, so people have got different reasons for having their website. And it's basically there to market your business in one form or another and potentially turn prospects into customers through taking transactions online. Kevin says specific is fine with him. Good. Okay, so I've just got some little screenshots here. So just to basically make examples about what I was saying. So this is a skipping rope. Jump ropes, they're called now, aren't they? Used to call them skipping ropes when I was a kid. But anyway, so what the purpose of this website very clearly is to shop. You land there and you know instantly that they want you to purchase something. So they've got their value proposition, high-end performance jump ropes. Got this cool statement at the bottom: board the jump waves. Jump wave, unlock your potential and crush your fitness goals with a jump rope workout. So it's really obviously sales. Yeah, would you agree? I can't see anybody. I don't know whether you're nodding or just drinking coffee. And a spelling mistake. Jump yourself lean. Is this what you mean, Helen? I think it's supposed to be cool. It's like down with the kids. Like, clearly we're not the target audience for these things. I don't know. Okay. And then this one is, again, it's another shop, but presented in a slightly different way. So Hannah Weston Jewellery, it's less overtly shop, but you can see up here, it's shop by product, shop by collection. There's the little basket, so you know you've landed somewhere that wants to sell you something. And then you've got your sort of value proposition, curated narratives, a story behind each collection. So handmade, exclusive jewellery, if you look at her website. And then this one, pretty obviously, company called Geek Point. We design websites. So you can't get much clearer than that in terms of telling you what they do. It's that simple. So that's what I'm saying. Look at your showcase, look at the services. So it's about getting your message across right from the moment that someone lands on your website. So I was reading something that said that basically had 8 seconds, which I thought was a remarkably long time to have to make an impression on that. Personally, somewhere, and if I can't find one in the first second or two that I land there, I'm off somewhere else, but maybe that's just me being a bit impatient. Okay, so what we can try to do is maybe have a look at a couple of your websites. If you are happy to do this, we can maybe share and discuss. Might take a bit of technological faffage. So we can just have a look and see whether the purpose of the website's clear. So is anybody willing to share their website so that I can share it on screen and we can all have a look? Oh, Helen looks like she's typing. Oh, she says it's pants. I'm not sure that it is. Right, activeplus.co.uk. Right, hold on. New share. How do I do this? Right, I might have to come on stop share and then start share again. Oh. Active-plus.co.uk. Okay. Oh. Right, here we go. So Kevin says his website's at the development stage, so not yet available. Right, so this is your website, Helen. Yes, she's nodding, we've got the right one. Can everybody see this? So when we get there, what's going on? We've got cookie banner. Oh, okay. So I could do with some words here because I can't see these for the pop-up cookie banner at the bottom. Okay, adventure indoor play for the under 12s, cafe and rest area. Oh, okay. So is it a play centre? No, it's more than a play centre. Everything. I'm lip reading now. It's brilliant. Bar areas, serving drink and food. Choose the one to suit your mood. Okay. And are you wanting people to book online for this? Okay. So, oh, all right. You've got price. Oh, right. Okay. There's different bits. Right. Okay. So it's not pants, Helen. That's an extreme description. So I think there's work to do on this in terms of, you know, like a book now button, actually bringing some of this text maybe up into the body of the images that are scrolling. Let's see what other people have put. Oh, Helen's backing off now. She had nothing to do with it and it's not fit for purpose. Does anybody else have comments on Helen's website that they might want to just chuck in the chat and we can make it a useful session? Don't hold back. I won't say who's put in the comments if people want to remain a bit anonymous. Or you can speak. Mark's doing a bit of coughing, so you could speak, Mark, and give us your comments on this website. Okay, Kevin says it's not clear to him what the website relates to. I would agree with Kevin with that, really. I think a bit of a stronger message when you land would really make a difference. Okay. I think that's it for that website. We'll just have a quick look at Samantha's website, which is Humber Training Group. humbertraininggroup.com. Okay, first point of contact. for anything training and development related for construction in the Humber. Okay, so latest news and updates, cookie policy. Right, you've got really clear telephone number there, which says to me that you want me to get in touch, and email button. So you are sort of saying I'm available to get in touch with. Yeah, you've got that you're training and development related for construction in the Humber. Is this like a portal, Samantha, for sort of sending people somewhere else?
Well, if you scroll down, there's different sections there. So
okay, right, careers.
Yeah.
All right, okay. So,
and the bits at the top are probably the sort of the main things we want people to go into, sort of under training and development, apprenticeships.
oh, here, right, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Right, okay. So, Kevin thinks that it's a bit too crowded for a landing page. I would tend to agree. And also, you'd said then if you scroll down, and it wasn't clear to me that I was supposed to scroll down. So you see where I mean, like we used to call this the fold back in the day. And if you had that fold a bit further up and you were enticing me to scroll down, I would have known that there was more to go down to. Do you understand what I mean?
I think so.
Yeah.
So is it like it's best to have a landing page and then it directs you into other places then?
Yeah. So with the home page, the purpose of your home page is to get your value proposition out there and then direct people where they want to be. So what you don't want people to do is only go to your home page. You want them to obviously look around your website. So in terms of bounce rate, which is when people just go to your homepage and leave, if you have a high bounce rate, that will impact on your Google rankings, because Google will think that your website's not terribly engaging for people who've got there. So what you want people to do is go to your homepage and then go somewhere else in your website. So there needs to be a clear journey from the homepage to wherever you're trying to get them. So we're going to come on to how you actually get it straight in your head shortly. But in terms of your sort of, as it is at the moment, sort of simple improvements would be to get that line a bit further up so it's obvious that there's something else to scroll down to. Yeah?
Yeah, I think it's because we've like added these bits in. Then it's like sort of taking it off that bit, because with the COVID stuff, then it's sort of, you know, it's like where do you put them? Or unless we just have a little bar in the top bit, latest news, and then it takes you to a different page.
Yeah, or COVID. You know, if you think people are coming there, if that's one of the primary reasons that people are coming to your website right at this moment in time, then actually having your COVID checklist button somewhere in here, you know,
there, and then it takes them to a different page.
It takes them there somewhere else. Yeah. So Mark's asking, do I think it's important to have the online value proposition front and central? Yes, definitely. I think people need to know exactly what they're going to get from your website from the moment they land on it. So really, you need to kind of obviously spend a bit more time looking at your own websites and think, actually, is the purpose of my website clear? So, you know, is it clearly for me to purchase something? Is it clearly that you want me to get in touch? Which, you know, at least on your website, Samantha, I know that you want me to ring you because your phone number and your email is up here. So that stands out. And is your value proposition clear? So we saw with Helen's website that it wasn't terribly clear what the offering was when you landed on the activity website, but on this one it is saying your first point of contact for anything training and development related for construction. So you do know what you're getting once you land there. Yeah. Okay, right, I need to flip back to sharing the presentation. Right. Okay. So in terms of your website brief, it's really important to think about why your website exists, and actually come up with a smart objective that we can use to measure the success of your website. So by smart, obviously, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Now, I'm going to make the massive assumption that you've all got Google Analytics on the back of your websites. Because that will help massively with being able to measure the success. If you haven't, or you're using something slightly different to Google Analytics, but you've got the same principles in place, that's fine. If you haven't got Google Analytics on the back of your website, it is actually a really useful tool. And part 2 of this workshop, we will be looking at Google Analytics and actually the bits of information that you need, because I do realise that you can go into Google Analytics and you can go down a wormhole massively, and then you've lost like 4 hours of your day. And you're like, oh, actually, I didn't know this, and I don't know whether I needed to know it. So next session, we will be looking at actually which bits are important. So think about your website and why it exists, and can you come up with that smart objective? And if anybody wants to put any of their sort of thoughts on what their smart objective might be into the chat.
Hi, Deborah, it's Nick here. Could I just ask a question on Google Analytics? So I hadn't put our website into the chat because it's very much at the sort of like the building stage at the moment. So I'm not really sure. Is that something that you need to kind of build into how you create your website then? That's something that you need to attach in?
Yeah, if you go to the Google Analytics, if you put Google Analytics in Google, it'll take you to that bit of the Google suite, and you generate some code through that, and then you put that into the back end of your website.
Right, okay, that's great, thank you.
But you just need to bear in mind that it will affect your cookie policy, because obviously to be able to track people through your website, you need their permission, through your cookie policy. So
Okay, thank you.
Anyone coming anywhere with a smart objective? How are you measuring success at the moment of your website, or are you not? Are you just having it out there? Come on, Kevin. I feel like you might have an opinion on this. Oh, bounce rate. Okay. Helen's looking at bounce rate on her website as a measure for success. So I'm guessing you're looking for a low bounce rate. So so that is actually a really good measure, because it obviously can then influence your SEO results, and it also tells you whether people who are coming to your website are actually seeing what they think they should be seeing. So Helen, what's your bounce rate like at the moment? %67%. Okay, that's not too horrendous. It's not fabulous, obviously, and it would be good actually to maybe set yourself a target to try and get that maybe down to 50%, and then try and get it down a bit lower, so do it in stages. You also look at where they come from, so referral sites, so that's really good. Kevin is looking at the time spent on the website by each reader. Okay, so that's interesting. So it depends a lot on what your website's like, because there's going to be a sweet spot on that between people spending a really short time. So if we think about, I think it was Samantha's website, having that telephone number in the top corner, it might be that people go on there, get that phone number and leave because they've actually found what they want straight away. Or are they spending maybe 10, 12 minutes on your website, and is that indicating they can't find what they want, or is that indicating that they can find stuff that's really engaging and they're really interested? So time spent, it's going to be dependent on the website and your website objective. Mark uses various measures: lead generation, SEO, visibility, user experience, stickability. Very good. Specifically for the website though, I can't remember, Mark, whether you were, what your reason for a website was. Hold on. So if you're looking for lead generation, then people will be filling out some sort of contact form, which obviously is a really good measure. Kevin is a technical service provider. Okay, yeah, target clients, very specific in their needs. Okay, so Kevin, in terms of him having time spent on the website by each reader, is actually quite a good measure, because if you're a technical service provider, then yeah, you will know exactly what they want. Okay, good. Okay, so once you've got your objective laid out for your website brief, you've thought about, actually, is it transaction site, or do I want contacts or leads, or is it validation, whatever. You've got your objectives, and think about how you are actually going to use that information from your objectives to influence improvements as well. So it's not a static kind of objective. So you might start off, Helen might start her next website with the objective of getting her bounce rate down to 50%. But what you don't want to do is then get to 50% and go, well, actually, we're all right now, we're winning, we've got 50%. You need to keep that evolving, and can we get that down to 45%, 40%? And think about the improvements you can make to make that happen as well. So don't ever think of your website as being static. Okay, so the next bit of your sort of website brief is all around your brand. No, it's not, it's around your target audience. I'm on the wrong slide. So around your target audience. So who is your website aimed at? What do you know about the audience that will influence the design and content? And what are their expectations when they come to your website? So the really key thing to remember is, and some businesses struggle with this, is your website is not for you. It is all about the people using the website. So you need to understand who your target audiences are, what are their motivations for coming to your website, and what do they want as part of that customer journey and experience through your website. So it's less prevalent now, but you used to see websites that were built very much to talk at the customer, talk at the user. And I did do a consultation for a business, actually, and they were some sort of engineering firm. I don't know, I looked at their website, I had no clue what they did at all. So, and I was chatting with them, and actually it turned out that really looking at their website, they had no clue what they did either when they started to dig into it. So it's very important to understand what your customer wants when they come to your website. So for Helen's, they're going to want to book, they're going to want to know prices, availability, stuff like that, I'm guessing. Yeah. Kevin has clients that are technologists. Wow. To be honest, don't even know what they are. I want to look at Kevin's website. So think about their motivations for coming to your website and the journey you want to take them on through that website. So it's not so much, although the actual demographics of the audience will influence design. Part of it is about influencing their journey as well. Does that make sense to people? Yeah. Good. So leading on from that and sort of touching on design there, your brand. So your website needs to work with your overall marketing. So if you've got disparity between your any literature you put out, or emails you send, or your business cards, and then people land on your website and they have to second guess whether they've actually landed on the correct website, then that's not working. So you want almost a seamless journey from wherever they come from to your website. Everything has to line up all the way through. So continuity and consistency are really, really important. It is more than just your logo. Your brand is everything from, well, your brand technically is everything you say and everything you do within your business, because you need to project your brand through absolutely every customer touch point. And, you know, it goes right into culture of the business as well. But that all needs to come through on all of your marketing collateral, of which your website is part of. So part of that is about thinking, what do people actually think about or visualize when they hear your business name? So I've had people say to me previously, my business is called Air 8 Marketing. I've been going about 10 years. And people are like, oh yeah, you're the one with the really light blue business card. But I've got that light blue sort of colour going on through all of my collateral. So website, postcards, business cards, everything has that sort of light blue thing going on. And, you know, it ties in with Air 8 for injecting, oxygenating sort of marketing strategies and stuff. So it's kind of like all that colours. So what do people think about or visualise when they hear this name? I mean, the obvious one is Nike. Everybody just thinks about that big tick. Trying to think of another one. Brewdog, I've probably almost got it there with, you know, as soon as someone says Brewdog, you can visualise their logo, that kind of like aluminium colour, and then either the blue or the orange. I'm not some kind of alcoholic. So, you know, it's like, what are people thinking or visualising when they hear your business name? Okay. So in order to kind of get this nailed down and get it nailed down for your web developer or designer, it's hugely important to have a brand book or rules. Now, I've worked in businesses where there's been a brand book that's like been 100 pages, and, you know, they've spent a fortune having this thing created and nobody ever looks at it. So my advice to you is get this down on one paper. And in your brand book or on your rules, you want why you exist. Why are you in business? And that can be as simple as, you know, provision of technical services to technologists to deliver improved whatever it is that Kevin does, improved something or other. But it might also be that you're in business. You might have a personal reason why you're in business, which is also going to affect your brand, and sometimes does in terms of how you present yourself, particularly if you are a solopreneur. Think about your target audiences. Think about, you might have 4 or 5 different types of target audience. You won't just have one. You might be able to split them by demographic. They might have different motivations. They might have different pain points. They might have different objections to purchase. So get that information in your target audiences as well. Set up some rules around your logo usage. So what's the minimum size? What colours? White space. You know, white space is good. Had a conversation with a client the other day who wanted more text on a page. I'm like, no, white space is good. It gives a bit more feeling of luxury. It makes things stand out better. I mean, look, if you look at these slides, Humber Business Growth Hub stands out. There'll be very specific brand guidelines about how far that can sit from the European flag for the European Union and how this sits next to it. So be specific. It's your logo, it's your brand. You need to take control of it. You don't want a web developer playing hard and fast with what image you are projecting to your customers. Yeah. Also in this brand rules list, think about words that you like or don't like. And, you know, how are you going to describe your business? Is it an outdoor play area? Is it outdoor activity area? You know, what's the specific words that describe what you do? And are there words that you don't like or won't use? So part of that might come across through tone of voice. So it might be that you talk through your website in quite an informal voice, in which case you wouldn't use do not, you would use don't. You know, so think about those kind of things as well. And also the typefaces that you're going to use, because that can also impact on how people perceive your brand. So everybody's familiar with Comic Sans. I'm sure there's a place for it somewhere, I just haven't found it yet. But think about what typeface you're using and what that says about your business. Any strapline that you've got, and any rules about imagery, which I've not updated this slide, but any rules about imagery, which we'll come on to on the 15th of January. So you'll be able to fill that bit in later on. But yeah, it's important to get this nailed down, but don't just nail it down and then shove this away, which I have seen in so many businesses. Really, you should be able to get that pretty much on an A4 piece of paper. Stick it on the board next to your desk, because it has to go through. I know this webinar is all about websites, but it has to go through absolutely every bit of your business. So Catherine is asking, what are the common typefaces and what's a good strapline? Okay, so typefaces, the common ones are all Helvetica based, which includes sort of the Arial family, which everybody's familiar with. Times New Roman, if you're going to go with something that's serif. It really comes down to what you're trying to project for your business, Catherine. I'm not a typeface guru, and it might be a conversation that you have with your designer to talk about, actually, this is what I'm trying to project. Can you come back to me and tell me which typefaces are appropriate? Yeah. So if you don't have a set typeface within your business already, then it might be that you go through a book of typefaces and go, actually, this is the one we need. Yeah. In terms of a good strapline, that again is obviously very unique to your business. Some businesses have them, some businesses don't, and really it's about whether you need to describe what you do, and whether your strapline is including your value proposition, or whether you see that being separate or not. Trying to think of a strapline off the top of my head, and I can't. If anybody can think of an example of a strapline off the top of their head, can they type it in the chat? Because my mind's gone blank. Just do it. Yeah, brilliant. So Nike, just do it. Every little helps. Fantastic. Oh, you're brilliant. Right, every little helps. Tesco. So you know, they are positioning themselves as value for money. Kevin's is connecting the globe. So I'm presuming you're in some sort of telecoms type stuff. Not quite sure, Kevin. It's like some mystery that we're unraveling what Kevin's website's all about. It's brilliant. I love it. So Catherine, so your strapline needs to be relevant to your business and position your business, but also helps if it works alone. If you think about Nike, yeah, just do it. And then every little helps. Tesco. Yeah, hope that makes sense. Right. Brands and website. Kevin is supply chain enhancement, mainly from the Far East. Again, not really understanding what that is, Kevin, but so long as your target audience get it, that's the main thing. Your brands and website, it's important. Yeah, so it's important to include these brand guidelines in your website brief. You don't want your designer creating a brand on the fly for you. You know, it needs to fit with everything else. Consistency is so important, and whether that's from an online advert through to your website, you want people to know they've landed in the right place. You know, or they've got your business card at a networking event and then they've gone to your website. it wants to feel like it's all connected. Yeah. It sets you apart from your competition, and it's a reflection of all the things that your business is. So don't be just saying to your web designer, just crack on with that, because that's not the way to go with it at all. Yeah. Okay, so in terms of the layout of your website, think about what you want your customers to do when they get there. So focus on the user experience. And I know this is it's a bit jargony, and web designers and web companies like to call it UX, and it's all dead cool. But really what you want people to do is get to where you want them to be as painlessly and as quick and easily as possible, because you want them to convert in whatever your converting way is, to either filling out a contact form or making a purchase. And so really that has to drive everything. Think about what they want to know and how you can segment them out early as possible. So if we think back to the Jump Ropes website, they were very clearly trying to sell us something, and we knew from the off that they were really cool because it was jump yourself lean instead of correctly spelled jump yourself lean. So they had very cool brand guidelines. So segment information early based on audience type or product or interest or the action that you want them to take. So Samantha's was kind of there with the telephone number and email up the top. It was clear that she wanted people to get in touch, but was that the first thing that she wanted them to do, or did she want them to look around the website? It might be that you segment them by location. If you're a international business, it might be, are you on the UK site or the US site? Yeah. So
just going through that has made me think how to target the audience differently and put it into different segments, perhaps on the home page, so it's not too crowded. And then yeah, good. Okay, so again, we're back to kind of looking at a couple of websites in terms of this. So segment them early and don't overload them with information. So this is the wordpress.com website. So very clear what they do. So first thing to just draw attention to, because we were talking about it first, was their fold or crease, as we used to call it, is a little bit up from the bottom of, I don't know why I'm pointing at the page because you can't see me do that, is a little bit up from the bottom of the screen. So you know that you have to scroll down. Create a website in minutes. So we know that if we go on WordPress, it's really simple and you can be up and running and anybody can do it. The really strong call to action: start your site, and then create anything for anyone. So they're saying WordPress allows you to build a website that meets your unique needs. So anybody can use WordPress, apparently. So it's focusing on what the customers want to know, not what you want to tell them. Because WordPress might well want to tell people that they've got, 80% of the world's websites are built on WordPress, all that sort of stuff. The brilliant. Actually, their customers don't care. They want to create a website in minutes. They want to get started, and anybody can do it. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, and then just in terms of segmenting people as they come in, councils are really good at this. Have we got anybody from a council on this? But they're brilliant. So you go to this is my local council, you go to your council website. They've obviously got a COVID statement on there at the moment, so typically this would be a little bit further up. But what do you need to do today? And they segment you straight away into these different boxes. And then talk about, you might be wanting to pay your council tax. You might want to know which bins you're supposed to be putting out. That's what I use it for, because I never know. Or you might be wanting to look at local plans. So they segment so well on council websites
it's brilliant. You get on the homepage and then you are presented with options that make it really easy to go somewhere else. So you don't hang around on that homepage, you just bounced on somewhere else, yeah? Mina is from a council. Your website must be amazing, Mina. Okay, so also the Apple website. So you know you're on the Apple website because it's got a little apple in the corner. And then you're segmented into whether you want to be on Macs, iPads, iPhones, watches, TV, music, support, searching, basket, because it's obviously something you're going to buy, and then segment by product type beneath that. Yeah. So you land, and there's no doubt about where you want to go. And that's really what you're aiming for, is no doubt about where you want people to go. Does that make sense? In terms of kind of thinking about your layout and your navigation, simple navigation but deep navigation is the way to go. So if you've got a complicated business or complicated offering, then simple and deep is better than having loads and loads of options across the top. Supermarkets and sort of fashion websites are good at this as well, actually. So they have the simple presentation across the top. Then you go on to Sainsbury's, you want to do your grocery shopping, and you can go into fruit and vegetables. You're presented with all your different types of fruit and vegetables. Meat and fish will be categorised into, you know, beef, pork, chicken, turkey, whatever, salmon, and then you'll go along. And with this one, we're in new and trending. So what they've got going on for Christmas, future brands come in, this sort of stuff, shop by brand for the sort of new things. But you can see how it's simple, but actually you're going through a lot of stages to get there, but it makes sense. So it's just about mapping out how you want your website to flow. So what that navigation looks like, and think about it in logical and simple steps. It's much better than having a huge menu across the top that people have to scroll through and it just doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Okay. So constructing a layout map. So this doesn't have to be super fancy, but it's just a good idea to sketch out the hierarchy of your website, because then you can see whether it flows or not. And this again would form part of your brief. Primary thing to consider is, what do your customers want to know when they come to your website? And then also, what do you need to tell them? So there might be rules in your organisation about actually everybody needs to know this or everybody needs to know that. Organise your website so it's really easy to navigate, and think about how all of those pages will link together. And then just draw that out. And when I say draw it out, I mean literally just draw it out on a piece of paper. You don't need to get really fancy with this. This is an example of one. So homepage, and then this was a company that does landscaping, well, tree arboriculture type stuff. So homepage, services, they sold to local authorities predominantly. So services that they offered, case studies, a load of resources that would be required by local authorities, news, and then contact us. So, but on the homepage, they would be bouncing people off to these with a series of boxes on the homepage. We'll come on to lay out the homepage shortly. But this is just about getting your mind round, where am I going to put all this information? And it needs to be in some sort of logical format that works for your customers. And it might be that you sketch something out and then you have a chat with a couple of your customers. You know, does this seem logical to you? What is it you want when you come to our website? What is it that you're looking for first? So that you actually start and build it for them instead of for you. Because that's the key thing with this. It's all about them. The menu across the top should make it clear about what your business has to offer. and then put all your sort of less important stuff at the bottom in the footer. Can't move the image out of the way. So with this example, this lot included the boroughs, the London boroughs that they covered, logos of memberships and associations, kind of that validation thing, contact info in terms of a static address, telephone number and email address, although that also featured on the homepage, and then privacy policy and terms and conditions of use were all down the bottom because they were considered to be less important than this stuff up the top. Their website was for validation. They weren't doing anything to drive huge amounts of traffic. It was really for existing customers to go to, just to, well, usually get hold of the phone number, to be honest, but just to make sure that they did, you know, they could do what they wanted them to do. So it might be that they were offering tree surgery in a lot of boroughs, and then they were moving on to doing tree pit services and stuff like that. So they were sending out email campaigns that would drop people into the right page anyway. So all sort of corporate info should be grouped together, and what you want your navigation to do is encourage people to explore content. So think about the links between the pages whilst you're drawing this. You might end up with some kind of like spider diagram, and that's fine. Think also, if you are encouraging bookings or sales, that contact, search, any login, if you've got like a login system, and basket are all in the normal place. And by normal place, I mean that top right-hand corner, you know, like you see a shopping basket in the right-hand corner. Don't try and break away from norms. So people are now so, well, pre-programmed, I think. We're pre-programmed that we know that that shopping basket will be in that top right-hand corner. So if you've got a business to consumer site and you're selling something, don't put the basket in the top left-hand corner, because people don't expect it there. They want things to be in the places that they know they will be. So it's like contact us is nearly always at the end of a menu, and people have kind of got used to that, and that's the expectation. You don't want people to struggle to find things on your website. You've got to make it as simple as possible. Don't make people feel uncomfortable using your website. It needs to be a sort of a normal experience for them. Does that make sense? Yeah. So just to kind of move on from kind of this map, the next bit really is about sort of sketching the pages out. So when I'm saying, you know, have your basket and stuff on the right hand side, what you might do, I mean, technically it's called wireframing, but you know, you can sketch it out on a piece of paper. So each page or type of page, so a home page, internal page, blog page, just sketch them out. You know, what do you think is the important stuff to have on those pages? Where do you think that should be going? So also think about continuity and consistency. So obviously your home page is going to send people off to somewhere. But an internal page, you might want people to stay on an internal page a bit longer. So it might be that an internal page is a selling page, or it might be an informational page. But actually, how are you going to present the words on that page? Are you going to have all pictures always on the right hand side, or are they going to send you across the page in different ways? What's the format of your blog page going to be? Are you going to have little categories down the right hand side or the left hand side or across the top? You know, that sort of thing. And just prioritize all that content, thinking about sort of the response that you want people to undertake. So for each page there has to be an action. So what is the action that you're looking for from the home page? So where are they going to go? What are the options? Where are you sending them? From the internal page, what's the action that you want? Are you wanting them to contact you? Are you wanting them to read a little bit more? Are you wanting them to put something in a basket? Does that make sense? Got a couple of nods. So actually, in terms of this, literally, this is what I do. Sketch it out. It doesn't have to be really fancy, but it just kind of starts to formulate stuff in your mind about presentation and whether it'll fit and how it's going to go. So this is an example of a home page. This is an example of a home page. So you've got your logo, top left-hand corner, there's kind of an expectation that anything sort of super brand orientated is up here. So logo is either left or middle, generally speaking. Search bar, again, you know, people have got an expectation about where that will be. On this one, you know, that I've just drawn up for this, I've put telephone number, but you might have email or contact or something. Then this little hamburger, as I like to call it, which is actually the drop-down menu, which everybody is becoming more and more familiar with. Nice, large kind of image, value proposition. So for your value proposition, think about what, why, and how, what your call to action is, and then with, I don't know what this one was relating to, but I've put trust here. So there must have been something to do with like some statement to do with engendering trust for people who are coming to this website. Bit of blurb, and then the options 1, 2, and 3 that we're going to send them somewhere else. Yeah. Helen, what do you think your homepage might sketch out like? It's a shame you've not got sound. Oh, look, she's drawn it. No, this way a bit, this way a bit. Oh, yeah. Can folks see Helen's? Don't know. Yeah. So Helen's got like, similar to this, offer across the top, sort of value proposition, you're in the right place, and then boxes to send people off to different places. So perfect, yeah. Can you see how that is going to be a little bit more effective? Yeah, okay. Does anybody else want to show to camera or have sketched out theirs, or anybody got any questions on sort of developing your homepage? You're all so quiet.
Busy taking it all in.
Good. So you would do the same for your inner pages as well. So think about what your standard inner page might look like, or how you would, if you've got products, how you would classify your products. There is,
and depending on the web thing that you're using to create it, then you might be limited on what you can put on there, because I'm just thinking, I don't know if I've got the search function available on mine.
Yeah, no, you might not, and it might not be relevant for your website either. You know, it's just, this is just like a one that I doodled up, you know, so I don't have a search function on my website. It's like one page, you know, well, it's two pages. So, you know, search is pointless. I've got another business as well, and I don't think there's a search function on that one either. And it's whether you think you need it or not. Now, Kevin was saying that he is technical service provider, target clients are technologists. I think like Kevin's website might be quite complex. I'm guessing here, because obviously I've never seen it. He might have a search function. People might be looking for something very specific. So again, it comes back to actually what your customers want. Yeah. Yeah,
if you're looking for a product or something, then that.
Yeah. Or if if it's complex information that people are trying to just get to the bit that they want, then a search function is useful. Okay, Kevin's now saying he's going to have a website that looks like this. Mark, the wireframe provides people with a good starting point. Thank you, Mark. Mina likes how you want us to plan our website rather than let the web designer design everything. Yeah, so basically, you know, sketching it out, it's kind of like, it's a start point to discuss with your web designer. Your web designer might bring additional ideas to the party, but what you don't want them to do is for them to kind of take control of the whole thing. You know your customers, You know what they want, and it's about getting a website that suits them. It's not about getting a website that a web designer thinks is cool or amazing or looks really good for their portfolio. You need it to work. Websites aren't cheap. Whether you're spending 500 quid or £5,000, it's not a cheap investment. You want it to work for your customers, so you have to take control of it.
Deborah, sorry to interrupt, it's Mark. I think it's important that everybody has a starting point. Like you said, don't let web designer railroad you. You go in with a draft plan, even if it's something on the back of a fag packet, pardon the analogy.
I completely agree.
Having a rough wireframe or just mapped out design, and then it's a starting point that blocks can be built on, it can be amended and adjusted. I mean, the whole who, when, where, what, how, I think is a really good principle to, clarify, what is it we're trying to achieve, how we're trying to achieve it, all those kind of elements, I think are a really good starting point. That's why I think your real rough sketch, I think, will help people. Just as I need to put that there and I need to put this there and so forth. Sorry, I didn't mean to interject. I just thought.
No, it's fine. It's all good. I'd rather people were kind of taking part, to be honest. It's otherwise I feel like I'm just sat here talking at my screen like some mad woman.
No, everybody's taking it in, believe me.
Thank you, Mark. No, Helen's also saying, it might also reduce the build cost because the designer knows exactly what to do. You could try. You could try with that. No, it's that start point. And like I said, they might have something else that they bring to the party and say, what about this? What about video? What about stuff going across your screen? I don't know. They've all got ideas, haven't they? And sort of experience they can bring from other projects. But it's your website. That's the key thing with this. It's like you take control of it. So you kind of have your website brief with all your objectives and target audience and brand information, along with these sort of wireframes, and it just gives them an idea of where you're at. And it's also something you can use to get costs for your website. So you need to start your brief before you've appointed your web designer. So your brief is your start point for getting your quotes as well. Just moving on from sort of the sketching out bit, it's also important to think about how to control eye flow on a page. So on a flat piece of paper, you tend to read from left to right, and then you kind of scan the middle, and then you read left to right across the bottom. So you make a kind of Z shape as you're reading. So if you were designing something on a flat piece of paper, so going back to those kind of mail order days, we used to have hero products in the top left, sort of across the top and across the bottom, and you'd have maybe special offers or some really strong call to action, bottom right. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Yeah, left, right. And you could manipulate or influence the sales by moving those products into different places because you knew where your hero positions were on a page. On a screen, people tend to read in an F, so they will read across the top, down a bit, and then into the page, but it's not as defined as that Z. But you can influence where people kind of look. So same image, different ways round, but if you had the image on the left on your page on the left hand side, people are going to follow her eyes and only look to the left and not necessarily read any of the text over here if there was text next to her. But if you flip the image, so she is looking to the right, you'd probably crop it a bit as well, to be honest, but anyway, she's looking to the right, then you can influence people by sending them across the page a little bit more. With this lady here, she's obviously looking straight off the page or off the screen, so she's not sending you one way or the other. So think about where you want people to look and where you want them to read, and how you can control that with images, because that's it's quite important that you try and make sure that people go to the places you want them to go, and use the images in the right way to get them to move around the pages. Yeah? Does that make sense to people? Yeah? Okay, so I'm going to have 10 minutes at the end for questions and answers. So the final bit of this is sort of to summarise what to include in your website brief. So it's that overview of your business. So we talked about sort of mission, and whether that was business, but also your might be your personal mission. USP, so what makes you different from your competitors and why? So this is to help your web designer understand sort of how to project your differences. Yeah. Target audiences, again, you would, like say, you've probably got 4 or 5. Give them all the information on who they are, age, where they might come from, why they're coming to your website, what's their motivation for coming to your website, what their pain point will be. You know, it might be that you need to consider, if you are an e-commerce website, will people switch off because you haven't got a PayPal button? It's my personal gripe with websites. If I have to run downstairs to go find a card to buy one more Christmas present, my head is going to explode. Just one to bear in mind. So include your target audience, include those pain points, because that's important. The objective and purpose of the website, so you're back to, we talked about validation or e-commerce or educating people. And your objective, you know, that SMART objective. So Helen's objective is going to be that she wants her new website to reduce the bounce rate to 50%, and she wants X number of sales through the website. That brand guideline sheet, a bit of information about who your competitors are, because it really helps your developer and designer understand your marketplace. Any other information such as sort of geographic boundaries, so whether you are international, which countries you operate in, whether you, you know, your business solely operates on the Humber and that's your geographic boundary, or whether you get people coming across from Yorkshire or whatever. Any other design and marketing specifics, and there I'm sort of thinking about, you might want it to integrate with something like MailChimp, if you are going to capture information for email follow-ups, or you might use Shopify, or you might use a certain CRM system that it's got to integrate with. So kind of think about that bigger picture within your business and the processes that you've got already. Any specific details, such as the inclusion of Google Analytics, compliance and legal notices, so GDPR and PECA, pop-up cookie banner thing, whether you want to be able to manage the content of your own website or whether you're quite happy to pay for someone to do that for you. It's important to lay that out at the start. And the timeline for the project. So if you're getting prices in, or you're setting a designer, developer off on your web project, you don't want it drifting. Now, to be fair, I've never actually had in 25 years any website project run on time. And that's mainly due to client side, so not necessarily developer, client side not having images, not having copy approved. You know, so there's things that your web designer will require, which will come back to you, and you have to have it ready at a certain time. But you should start off by saying, I want my website live by X date. So at least they can say, to achieve that, we need A, B, and C on these dates. And then you go, oh, actually, I can't write all my copy by then, or I've not got photos, or so-and-so's not in the office to be able to sign it off, blah, 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 blah. So get your timeline for your project on your web brief as well. And that really is sort of it in terms of, you know, part one of this. And so we've got 10 minutes for questions, which I'm hoping you're going to have. Does anybody want to revisit anything? You can put things in the chat. No, type in.
Is this the part one, did you say? When's the
This
next?
is, yeah, part two is on the 15th of January.
15th of January.
So Catherine says, can you have the slides? Yes, you can have the slides. Recording, if it's recorded, I'll find that out, I think so. Sadia will let you know that. Mina, would you suggest designing your own website, or it's better to work with someone else? That entirely depends on your level of skill and patience. Personally, I always get someone to do that for me. I feel like a web designer or developer can bring additional things to your website. However, some businesses won't have the budget or resources to kind of go in that direction. So it kind of depends on your personal situation, to be honest, Mina. I once tried to design my own website and got very frustrated with the entire situation and paid someone to do it for me, if I'm honest. So this kind of learning experience in terms of how to get an effective website is designed around working with a designer or developer. However, even if you are going to design your own website, I would strongly suggest you go through all of these stages so that you really think about your website before you start designing it. Okay. Catherine, yeah, we can share slides and the recording with you. Kevin, can I offer support through, I don't know. Yes, there is more. Yes, Sadia is going to talk to you about that. Has anybody got any other questions about their sort of first stage of their web brief? No. Okay. Right, so it would be maybe useful then, so for the 15th of January, if you could have an outline web brief or some wireframe sketches or something that we could sort of start the session discussing, so that you can get a bit of feedback on where you're at, if that sort of suits your working plan. I'm quite happy to do that at the first 10 minutes of the next session. Okay, I'll pass